Hey everyone, welcome back to CryptoCache. Thanks for joining me here. Hope you're having an amazing day. We're taking a quick look here at Bitunix Exchange. This is just a review / beginner video. What we're going to do is talk about some key things here. Some talking points is their background information, the advantages for using them, as well as some basic, depositing funds using fiat and crypto, as well as opening a position, market limit, trailing stop, and closing positions. Okay, so if that kind of is in the wheelhouse what you're looking for, awesome. If not, be sure to check out some of my other videos as well regarding this exchange. I have more information for me. All right, so taking a quick look here at the talking points here. First things first is their background information. So I want to clarify a couple of things here, make sure you understand they are top 20 crypto futures exchange as of the release of this video. They have 600,000 registered users, as well as an average daily trading volume of 9.4 billion. Okay, so that's a pretty good, solid amount there. Top 20, in my opinion, is very, very healthy. They also have a partnership with leading assets cryptocurrency custody platform Kobo. Okay, this basically just ensures asset security. If you're curious about that, go ahead and do a search for that. You'll kind of recognize that that's kind of similar to gold backing the US dollar, essentially. Okay. They also follow strong regulatory standards and obtained licenses in the US last year in December, which happened just after FTX. Okay, so again, extremely compliant. All right, the last thing we want to talk about, or I guess the next thing here, is part two, essentially, which is the advantage of using Bitunix. Now, this exchange, as you probably already know, you've seen me promoting this this exchange for a short while, and the main reason why is because they offer no KYC, no VPN. It is phenomenal for our US, Canadian, UK, and other countries, of course, as well, that had some issues with KYC here in the recent past. Okay, so as of the recording of this video, a lot of exchanges hit users very, very hard to require that. And some countries are restricted, and that's very difficult. So this exchange allows you to trade with them without using those two things. Same thing as well with OTC support. They have over 23 fiats included. We can take a look at that here in a little bit, but generally speaking, when you go to that fiat transfer option, essentially you go to deposit funds, you have that option. They also have a significant welcome bonus of 5,500, so I would recommend utilizing my link down below here so you can benefit from the newbie benefits, as they're referred to them as, and obviously make sure that you're eligible for future trading competitions with our community. Obviously, use the link down below, you'll have that feature. Now, when it comes to the last talking points we're going to discuss here as well, just keep in mind we're going to discuss the basic guide, how to deposit funds using fiat and crypto, and how to open a position, market limit, trailing stop loss, and of course, closing a position. Okay, so stay tuned for that. All right, so next up, we're going to take a quick look here at the homepage. As soon as you log into Bitunix, this is what you're going to see. You have options across the top with buy crypto, markets, future, spot, campaign, welcome bonus, MCC, as well as some assets here as well. Okay, so we're going to kind of focus on, I guess, the assets overview, kind of go through that first. But to preface, we're going to select this buy crypto link just so you understand how the OTC works, where you can essentially buy crypto via a third party. Now, this is not my desired option. I honestly prefer to avoid this because this does have fees associated with it. You're much better off transferring crypto from another exchange because you're going to face 0 fees minus the cost of the gas to essentially send and receive. Okay. So again, they do not charge you for transferring crypto, but there is a charge, of course, for this. Just know there's upwards of 23 different options here for fiat, so you can choose whichever selects your needs. Okay. So again, that is an option there initially for buy crypto. What we want to look at next here would be assets overview, and we're just going to go through each one of these categories. Okay. Now this is just kind of my basic account here. This is a kind of a trial account, so we have a small amount of funds in both spot and futures. Okay. So I have that there available, so we can kind of get you a good little demo on what's going on. But what we have is a few different options here, of course, on the screen. So on the left, obviously you have spot, futures, deposit, withdraw, transaction, coupons, center. Initially, what we want to probably do is fund your account if you haven't already. So again, kind of to speak on that, you can choose buy crypto up here in the corner, or you can essentially deposit, withdraw, or transfer here. Deposit is depositing crypto from one exchange to another. So from one exchange to this, we want to choose deposit. Withdraw is withdrawing from this exchange to another exchange, and transfer is transferring within, so you can transfer from spot to futures and futures to spot. Okay, so we would select deposit, and in this example, what we do is we just choose a coin essentially, and in most cases, you probably want to, and again, this is just a recommendation. I find the most benefit here utilizing USDT because it seems to carry the lowest amount of fees, and I typically like to transfer with TRC20 or BEP20. They're both low fees, typically less than $1 or $1 or less, and that's probably the best way to go. So just say, for example, you're going to choose TRC20. It's going to provide you with a deposit address. You hit this copy link option, and then when you go to your exchange you're trying to send monies from, and then you essentially paste it into there, and then it'll effectively send it to this address. Okay. So again, then you'd have USDT on your account. Okay. Now again, there's a minimum deposit amount, but it's not that expensive. Honestly, you can transfer small amounts. Ideally, you want to transfer all in one, but I recommend, of course, a test trial run where you go ahead and send the funds over initially. Okay. In other words, send $1 or send a few cents to make sure it receives okay, and then send a second one. All right. Again, just a friendly reminder: there is nothing worse than sending funds and not knowing where they went. It can happen, trust me. Okay. So again, that is essentially the assets overview there, or correction, that is the deposit option within assets overview. And of course, withdrawal is the same function, only reverse, where you would essentially be able to withdraw to an on-chain. This page does take a moment to load up, and I would recommend while we're waiting here that you make sure you select Google Authenticator and make sure that you utilize that. Extra layers of security is always recommended, and that does help. But as you can see, I've only verified my email address on here. If I choose mobile and authenticator, it increases the security, and that's a good option to do that. Okay. Furthermore, let's go ahead and go back to the asset overview here just so we kind of see what's up. You do have some help and guidance, which is nice. They have extremely good technical support, so do not hesitate to utilize that if necessary. But this asset overview page is nice because it gives you perspective of both accounts, both spot and futures. So to be able to access either, you simply choose a spot account here, and you can see the amount of funds that I have here. I've got 659 in USDT and 146 in Solana. Now again, you can choose to deposit, withdraw, trade each one of these independently. We're not going to worry about that for now because the general idea still remains the same, but that is essentially where you're going to go to find that. The same scenario occurs here with futures account as well. It's going to provide you less trading pairs options because you're typically only going to be buying and selling with USDT. You're not going to be buying and selling futures with Bitcoin, for example. You can only truly do that with spot. Again, that's just kind of the options here within asset overview. Last but not least, we could look at transaction history and coupon center, but those are pretty self-explanatory. It's going to show your history of trades, as well as coupon center is a good place to go. In fact, why don't we just go ahead and check out quickly the welcome bonus page here so you can kind of see what this looks like, because they separate the rewards differently. Okay. In other words, you have upwards of $200 in mystery boxes, which is quite nice for completing registration, completing a bonus by depositing, and of course, verifying with KYC. Keep in mind, US, Canada, UK, I get the question a lot, is that required? It would be required, of course, if you're trying to get this benefit, but if you're not absolutely required to KYC. Okay, so again, that's not a requirement. If you KYC, the only real difference is that you have a larger amount of funds that you can transfer in and out per day, and it's a pretty sizable amount as well. So try not to overcomplicate that if you don't have to, but those are just for those mystery boxes. Newcomer tasks as well, by trading with futures, of course, you get a decent bonus here, upwards of, I think it's close to about $300 there. If you decide to trade and transfer, or sorry, once you transfer the funds over, you essentially just start trading. Those will add up automatically. Okay? Last but not least, this is the biggest bonus here, where you get a limited time bonus of 5,000 just by depositing funds. All right, folks. Next up, we're going to go ahead and take a look here at some of the options across the top, because I want to familiarize you with the features included here. Across the top, we have markets as the initial option. We're just going to use that as a default here, because what this does is it gives you an option to be able to favorite. You can hit the star next to which one of your favorites you like. That'll pull up over here under favorites once you've done so. And then, of course, under futures or spot, you can choose which trading pairs you want to trade. Okay. So we're going to go ahead and start with spot. And there's a few ways to get here, of course, but the easiest way would be to hit trade under Bitcoin on the list here. Okay, but you do got to recognize across the top, if you just click on spot up here, it'll perform the exact same function and take you there as well. Okay, so under spot, we want to talk about two things here. You want to talk about market orders and limit orders. Okay, these are pretty straightforward, simple, easy to understand concepts, but I want to make sure we talk about it a little bit and how this exchange works, because it is fairly straightforward, but it's important to understand the difference. Every exchange performs a little differently. We click on market order first, just kind of set the baseline. And just so you understand what market orders are, is you're just buying at the best possible price. Now they say best possible price, you're going to get the worst possible price. And that's just exchange wide. No matter which exchange you're using, you're always going to have slippage. So right now, just say we want to buy in at 37,200, it'll probably put us at 37,250. Okay, that's just how market orders work. I recommend never trading with market orders, but if you have to and the market's moving fast, that's probably a case in point where you'd want to, okay? Again, for the most part, you're going to want to focus on limit orders. You'll pay less in fees there too. So taking a quick look here, just say hypothetically you want to buy a total amount, just say we wanted $1 worth of Bitcoin, we'd put a 1 in there, it would automatically populate to however much of a percentage that is of your portfolio. The inverse also applies. You can shift this up to just say 50%, and it'll take half of what's in your portfolio, or at least in this case, your spot bag, and effectively allow for you to buy that. Okay, so if I hit buy right now, it'd instantly fill, and I'd get the best possible price. All right, again, that's how market orders work. Limit orders are very similar, almost identical. Only difference is you're going to be able to delegate a specific order price where you want to buy in. So in this example, we could say 37,000. And then of course, instead of the quantity, keep in mind this will change for you. You put in just say what you think is $1. It's actually going to be default to 1 Bitcoin because you can delegate a specific amount of Satoshis. I would recommend not doing that and just putting in a dollar amount down here, and then it would populate the correct percentage, or just scrolling this over to wherever you want, and would essentially put it in the same function. Okay, so again, that is how simple the limit and market orders work on the spot exchange. Okay, so next up, we want to take a quick look here, of course, at futures. So we go ahead and select futures across the top, or also keep in mind you can select markets, just to clarify, and choose, it'll be default to futures here, and you can just go ahead and select the trading pair. It'll bring you to the same exact page. Okay, so just know there's 2 different options to get there, and that is essentially how that works. Now this is going to look a little different. The reason why, of course, is because futures has a lot more options. We even have the trailing stop as well, which we'll get into. Now the idea here remains the same. So we've got a lot of extra features, however, still the same concept. With the market order, you're going to get the best market price. And of course, with limit orders, you're going to be able to choose how much, or the specific dollar amount of where you want to buy it. Okay? So those things do not change at all. And that's kind of the nice thing about it. It's fairly synonymous in that way, so you can use it the exact same way. I would recommend if you are brand new to trading, do not worry about these lower functions. I'll provide you with additional video content talking about those. But those are nice features later down the road because you can specify what take profit and what stop loss you want to utilize. Okay? It's quite simple. You just check mark the box and you choose how much, or where you're going to take the profits. Again, we'll have details regarding that later, but for right now, we're not going to worry about that just because that would extend the video length out significantly. Okay. The things I want to familiarize you with here with this, futures option essentially, because if you're new to futures, you're not going to kind of know the difference. There is isolated versus cross margin. So to make it really simple, isolated is probably the best way to start trading, because what it'll do is it'll isolate the trade based on the trade itself. So say we use $5. When you get liquidated, you're going to lose that $5. Okay? If you choose cross margin, it does change things significantly. And what that basically does, it'll continue to add to your position if you're risking liquidation, and it'll continue to pull from your portfolio. Okay? So it basically takes the trade and spreads it across your portfolio instead of just isolating it by itself. Granted, you'll be liquidated less often using that method, but it can also be higher risk if you take too many trades at one time. So I would recommend isolated as kind of the initial starting point, and depending on how much percentage or how much large of a margin you want to use, you can scroll this bar up or down for the leverage amount. Okay? I would recommend, just again as a beginner, no more than 5 to 10x leverage, just to keep it safe, so that way you're not getting liquidated consistently until you get your bearings straight. It's important to kind of play it safe. Okay. So next up, we're going to take a look here at trailing stop. And this is where things get, I guess, a little more, I wouldn't say more confusing, but it just adds an extra layer is all. And trailing stop is nice because it allows you to get in the market and effectively be able to get out at a specific point. Okay? In other words, when the price keeps moving, it'll essentially adjust that for you. Okay, and what I mean by that is the stop loss to ensure that you take more profit. Okay, so ideally what you're going to do is you're going to go ahead and choose the activation price. And this activation price is essentially one of the triggering conditions for the trailing order. All right, I'm going to read this off the screen here. If not filled in, it will basically trigger by market price only. So if you leave this blank, essentially, then you're going to essentially be able to get the activation price at market order. Okay. Furthermore, after the trailing order is placed, when the market highest or lowest price reaches or exceeds the activation price, the condition will be fulfilled. Okay. Again, I'll provide details on this down below in the comments, but at this point here, this shows us a pullback range. So I'm going to clarify and just read this as well so you understand what the pullback ranges are. This is a callback rate, one of the most triggering conditions for the trailing order. So when the activation process is met, the trailing order will be fulfilled, and the percentage of rebound of the highest lowest price in the market greater than or equal to the set callback rate. Okay, so you get a range of 0.1 to 15%. Basically what this means is whenever you put a percentage in there, just say 1%, once you take profit, the stop loss will adjust by 1%. Okay? And again, that's beneficial because it helps you secure profit, and the trailing stop moves and adjusts by that certain percentage. Okay? So just say, for example, you hit your profit target, your first target, the stop loss will adjust up by that specific percentage that you delegate here. Okay? You can slide the bar across here if it makes it easier, or just specify a certain number. Okay? Again, between 0.1 and 15%. Okay? That's generally how that works. Again, future videos I'm going to go ahead and provide to you with specific details on a trailing stop loss. We'll dive a lot deeper into that, as well as the options here for reduce only, buy take profit stop loss, and sell take profit stop loss. Okay, these are important things to know, but for right now, the important foundation is understanding how limit market orders work and starting the trailing stop loss, because everything else kind of comes with time. There's no need to over explain, if you will, because those are important things to know. So that is pretty much what we have here for you. And what I would recommend, again, when you're using this exchange, just recognize that there is no VPN, no KYC. That's a really extreme benefit right now. As of the recording of this video, their largest top 20 exchange for futures. So you have a lot of liquidity, a lot of options there, and they're extremely compliant based on some of those things we talked about initially with the talking points. So to me, this exchange makes perfect sense. It's absolutely what our US, Canadian, UK members are looking for. It does benefit other countries and regions as well. I'm just specifically talking about those because those are the most amount of users I have underneath me in those areas, those regions. Okay, so highly recommend it. It's a very, very good exchange. Toy around with it. Let me know your thoughts. Comment below if this is something you find benefit with. If it's something that you are having trouble with, feel free to reach out. I will have additional videos with more detailed content regarding this exchange here soon. But once more, this gives I give this 2 thumbs up for quality and honestly, just a fantastic exchange to work with too. Thanks again, Bitunix. We'll look forward to hopefully working with you as well. Be sure to check out my Twitter, Telegram, and Discord links down below, and of course, premium group if optional. That is definitely something you could consider as well. Do look forward to working with you again. Have a great rest of your day. We'll see you in the next one. Take care.